Welcome in to a Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, live here, presented by Go every single day, online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Remember, you can find them on on Airline Highway and Sherwood Forest, Florida Boulevard and Sherwood Forest for Go Express Auto Sales, and out in LaPlace for brand new cars at Go Express at Go Chevrolet, GEAUXChevrolet.com. We're going to talk to Wilson Alexander coming up here in 1 hour. LSU baseball this weekend, raking, scoring. 51 hits, a record, 51 runs, a record after a three-game opening.
51 hits would have been impressive.
It would have been very impressive.
51 runs, boys.
They were raking over the weekend. Everybody hitting home runs. We talked to Giovanni DiGiacomo last night on our Sunday night show.
I wonder what he did this
Lance
weekend.
Beal.
I'm just saying, probably you go out there, get a sweep. Gio looking the way that he does. I'm sure Saturday was very fun. Sunday.
Eat with the parents, eat with the family. Pulled him away from dinner last night. But the flow looked great. LSU was knocking the ball all over the yard. We'll talk about that. Lots of stuff happening in sports that we'll get to here. NBA All-Star game last night. Steph Curry goes absolutely unconscious as he scores 50, scores an All-Star record in front of the top 75th anniversary squad. It was a really cool night over in Cleveland. LeBron putting the Lakers on notice. Juwan Howard fighting post-game yesterday. Michigan's basketball coach, head coach, fighting with Wisconsin's assistant coach. A bad look in the Big Ten yesterday. We'll talk about that coming up. How bad does the All-Star dunk contest stink? We'll also talk about the injury to Cade Beloso, as last night Leah Vann, who covers LSU baseball for The Advocate, said she had gotten a little information, nothing official, but it looks like that Cade Beloso is going to miss an extended amount of time dealing with his injury. Nothing officially has come out, but it does not look good for Beloso, who injured his knee over the weekend in front of a pretty rowdy and raucous opening weekend crowd at Alec Box Stadium. Remember, daily, we're brought to you by Papa Earl's Spice, 30% less sodium than the competition. Pick it up wherever you shop locally. Also, True Blue Water to get on the delivery route, trubluewater.com. trubluewater.com is where you can find them online. And then, of course, our phone lines, Metropolitan Health Group, Real Doctors, Real Solutions, Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan, a friend over at Metropolitan Health Group. Real Doctors, Real Solutions. But LSU baseball, as we said, what a weekend for the Tigers. 51 runs and a 3-0 sweep over Maine, as LSU was very impressive. All the studs, all the names that we had heard about. Jacob Berry hits a couple of bombs over the weekend. We saw and heard from Giovanni last night. He went yard yesterday. But really, I know the offense is what everybody's buzzing about, and they really do have a strong lineup, and they got options, and every single day could be something different. And looking forward to the game Tuesday versus Louisiana Tech. That'll be a hell of an early season matchup just to kind of judge the temperature of where this LSU group is. I'd imagine that you'll see Will Helmer starting there in that midweek role, but I really thought that Blake Money on Friday was as impressive as the offense. I get it that it's Maine. I understand that, look, that Maine hadn't even practiced outside when they got down here. Friday was the first piece of sunshine that they'd seen in months as far as the Black Bears were concerned, of just being outside and playing baseball. So obviously advantage LSU, but Money, whether it was the way he looked physically in the offseason and the way that his body is transformed. He has dropped a ton of weight. He's very much leaned up and looked like his fastball and his velocity and his demand is there. I know that it's not the SEC, and I know it's a road to the SEC is a couple of weeks away, but he felt like a Friday night guy watching him work on opening night. Just the way his presence, his confidence, his command, like we said up there, just a stellar night for Blake Money. 10 strikeouts, which is a career high for him. Only gave up 2 hits and 2 walks, as his outing was very impressive on Friday night. And as we said, the offense really took over from there. That was the story. And then Ty Floyd, I thought on Sunday, was really good too. So there's a lot of storylines to talk about with this LSU baseball team. I think, like we said, there's options. You can see that Coach Jay Johnson is still kind of tinkering and finding and seeing some people in some different positions and different places in the lineup. And, man, they're offensively, they are gifted in the way that they can strike the ball and just the amount of dudes that they got in the lineup. I mean, it just never lets up.
Yeah, there's nowhere to turn. And that's the best part about baseball, right? If you can have, I mean, that's how, I mean, I know Barry Bonds is the greatest hitter of all time, but the fact that you could stack him between, you know, you couldn't hide him. You couldn't pitch away from him because they had people behind him that could hit. Who was it?
Jeff Kent?
Jeff Kent was behind him, also a Hall of Famer. That's when you start getting into a real murderer's row of lineups like David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez. You always have to have somebody else behind you. So to have Dylan Cruz and then to be able to add a Jacob Berry, essentially a gift from the gods, to be like, oh, you wanted another Dylan Cruz? Here you go. So they have two, and I mean, what did he do? He went back-to-back home runs Saturday or Sunday? Saturday, where both plate appearances he hit yak. So, I mean, the baseball team is stacked. I know it's Maine, but scoring 20 runs is hard to do in softball, like beer league. So they're going to put up points. 21
runs yesterday was they scored 11 over the first two. So they got off to a really fast start. Yeah, it was a really fast start for LSU. They had 16 hits on Sunday as Cade Doughty, 3 for 3, home run, 5 ribbies, 3 runs. Giovanni DiGiacomo, as we said, drove in 4 runs. Braden Jobert, who's another one who came in, a junior college transfer in from Delgado. There you see some of the numbers from the weekend, and really just the options that Coach Jay Johnson has. You see Jobert, his percentage, 667. The DH knocked this weekend. Jacob Berry, 400. Trey Morgan, 460. Cade Doughty, 570. Dylan Cruz, 540. I mean, Giovanni, 500. I mean, it's embarrassing how good they are offensively.
We didn't even know who Jack Merrifield was.
I know.
They threw him in the 50s. They're like, oh, I don't know what happened to poor Cade Beloso, but they said a hamstring, then you're in the knee brace. And, I mean, that's a baseball injury if I've ever heard one. That's in Sammy Sosa territory where you sneeze and hurt your back. And Cade Beloso's in the pregame huddle, seemingly hurts his knee, and then Merrifield gets his shot. Unbelievable, and takes straight advantage of it.
Jobert got his shot.
Yeah.
And Merrifield just slid in.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If he doesn't get hurt, though, then Merrifield never gets to play. But you don't ever see somebody, what is he, 51 or 52?
53.
Yeah, 53. That cat wasn't supposed to play. No. You ain't rocking 53 if you think you're going to get on the field, but just shows how deep this team could be.
They are. The options are pretty embarrassing. I love to see this offense and can't wait to see some of the options that Jay Johnson chooses. It'll be fun to watch this LSU baseball team continue to get better, man. Take care of business. We'll talk to Wilson Alexander coming up a little less than an hour from now. He'll be here at 8 o'clock as we'll talk about the success of LSU baseball. Obviously, if you have a comment, if you got a question, jump inside of the chat app over inside the bunker, and we'll get it asked and answered here for Wilson Alexander, anything about LSU baseball. But Stewie, you were there on Friday night. It was a good atmosphere, huh?
It was a great atmosphere.
Yeah, opening night at the box.
Yeah, opening night. Blake Money looked really comfortable. He looked like a Friday night guy, and he had a real confidence about him. And when he picked that guy off, I realized, like, this is a dude. Like, we got us a Friday night guy.
He might have thrown over 5 times after that if he didn't get him. They had turned it into a pitcher versus batter. It turned to pitcher versus runner scenario, and they were both going to go at each other because that guy wanted to steal that bag no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he wanted to steal the bag as much as just get a jump on Money. Like, it was mano y mano, and Money picked him off, and then he gave him a little chest pump at him, and he's like, yeah, that's what I thought.
And Ty Floyd, I thought, was very impressive on Sunday. As we said, I mean, he threw just 24 pitches through his first 6 batters that he faced on Sunday. LSU was really solid. Floyd struck out 4. He finished the day with 8 strikeouts. Through 5 innings, he only gave up 2 walks and only 1 run. So the entire pitching staff on Sunday struck out 16. It was a really, I thought, good, solid opening weekend. Don't want to make too much of it because, Maine had been, look, they hadn't had the chance to really get ready to play. This is almost kind of a training camp for Maine because they just hadn't had a chance to be outside with the geography and the weather and the climate and everything that they're coming down from. But, to be down here and for LSU just to take care of business the way they did, it'll be a real test tomorrow night in Ruston. You're traveling up to Louisiana Tech. Place has been sold out for a while now. LSU taking the brand on the road against a top 15 team. I mean, look, the Bulldogs are a program that hosted a regional last season. They've got a little swagger to them. Anytime a state school is going to play LSU, you're going to get the state school's best pitch, punch, hit, and
run.
Louisiana Tech is a solid group with a lot to play for. And look, it's February. It's still very, very early in the baseball season. You play 56 of these games. You got 3 down. You still got 53 left of them on the schedule. So, a midweek game versus Louisiana Tech in February is not something that's really going to determine any type of
You're so wrong.
outcome. But for February play, man, it doesn't get any better than this.
I mean, this is Jay Johnson's first test to see if he'll get fired in the midweek or not.
Get your short list ready for Wednesday morning.
Who else is available?
Right.
I hope he knows that. He's going to, because you saw, and we've talked about this before after we saw Paul Maneri kind of loosen up on stage Friday night. So big hat tip to Mikey Mocktuck, mic'd up all the boys helping us out over at Fred's. Unbelievable night. Price set the tenor for the evening for LSU baseball. But you saw a loose Paul up there on stage, and he would tell you that Tiger Droppings can get to you. Because we've seen him, OP Money was on Tiger Droppings back in the day. You could see it in his reflection.
He said he was more nervous for the first game of the season than any game.
Sure.
Ever. Like
the
always.
unknown. Poll question is up right now. Southern Eye Center poll question of the day. Remember, Southern Eye Center is located on Jefferson Highway, and if you mention the Culotta Show, they'll take 25% off a great selection of sunglasses. With the spring and summer coming around and the weather really starting to be good on the weekends. If you're looking for a new selection of sunglasses, get over to Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge. They're located on Jefferson Highway. Tell them you heard it here on the Jordy Culotta Show, and they'll take 25% off of that purchase. Did LSU's performance over the weekend change your expectation? Poll question is up. However you're listening to the show, make sure you vote on that poll question and get over to Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge and tell them you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. All right, we'll get back to more of LSU baseball coming up at 8 o'clock this morning as Wilson Alexander, we said he'll be here from the Advocate. We'll ask him his thought on the pitching staff, who LSU is going to throw. It seems like Will Helmers will get the start in the midweek game for LSU versus Louisiana Tech. I thought that he might throw possibly on Sunday. I thought it was going to be either him or Floyd. They went with Floyd, so I'd imagine that means that Helmers will get the rock on Tuesday night. LSU basketball travels to Kentucky on Wednesday night. They fell over the weekend to South Carolina. That puts the Tigers back at a 500 mark, 7-7 in conference play. This is a game that they were supposed to win. They should have won. Winning on the road in the conference is very tough. Anytime that you travel in the SEC, no matter the sport, but specifically football, basketball, some of these highly competitive, these high-end places where you have to go into, South Carolina was a tough spot that they traveled into, and they could have won that game. They had their opportunities to win that game, and a lot of people are talking about the set at the end of the game really costing them. I disagree. I think the portion of the game that really got away from them was the last 8 minutes of the second half, where LSU was up as many as 11 in the second half. They were up 14 on South Carolina in the first half, but they really had opportunities to put South Carolina away, but they didn't, just because of wasted possessions offensively. And Xavier Penson's continuing to be back and be in the lineup, and he is the stability and the driving force, but for as much as he means, he can't do it all. He can't handle the ball at every single position. People have to step up and protect the basketball, and I thought, on Saturday, Gaines let the ball get away from him a little bit, and they just weren't able to capitalize down the stretch on some key possessions to close South Carolina out and get the win. So that's a bad loss for LSU. That's a tough loss for LSU, because when you look at the week ahead, you got to travel to Rupp Arena on Wednesday night and play Kentucky. Kentucky coming off of a nice win versus Alabama, but they got beat last week by Tennessee, so they're looking to straighten things out. And LSU, as we said, winning on the road in this conference is very tough, especially when you're going up against a top 4 team in the country like Kentucky, who's playing with some confidence now going into March. So, LSU will be at Kentucky on Wednesday, and then they'll be back home playing Missouri on Saturday. So hopefully LSU can get this thing right. But, I think that their postseason seed is tumbling a little bit with their, the last 5 weeks has really put a strain on what the postseason selection committee is going to think about what LSU can accomplish. There's always going to be a hump you're going to have to overcome with Will Wade from a public relations standpoint. It's obvious that, it's really kind of the world against him. So the seeding is already going to be a little bit, against you. And if you give them an excuse to continue to drop, I could see them, at some point right now being 7, 8, 9. Just because of all the variables that go into evaluating LSU basketball from what looks like a third party. So that was a bad loss on Saturday. And look, the sequence at the end of the game, I think was the right call. You put the ball in the hand of your best ball handler and Xavier Pinson, your best decision maker, the guy who protects the ball the best. You're able to spread the floor, isolate him one-on-one. If he can get to the rack, get to the rack. The corner defensive player crashed in, which left Darius Days standing by himself in the corner. Pinson made the right read where he sucked the defense up and made the pass out to the corner three-point line where Darius Days was looking right at it, had his feet set, had his shoulders square. Good rotation, just shot it a little hard off the back iron, and LSU got out-rebounded. It's one of them things. I thought that it was a good play call. You got a clean look. Your senior in the corner three, high percentage shot. Just rims in and out.
But you wouldn't be surprised if they beat Kentucky, would you?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, they've got the manpower to do it. They've already done it. It's just been a roller coaster ride the last 6 weeks, but it's been more in the valley than it has been peaking. They've been down the last.
But that's their first loss with everybody together, right? With the whole starting five.
Yeah.
It was bound to happen at some point. This isn't the Bobby Knight's Indiana Hoosiers. You weren't expecting them to go undefeated and win the whole thing, but having them together and seeing that they still played a tough game at South Carolina. Frank Martin's a good coach. Who did he get to the Final Four? Whenever he wasn't supposed to.
South Carolina.
Was it South Carolina or came from Kansas State?
Kansas State, he coached Michael Beasley.
In the Octagon of Doom,
yeah.
Whenever they were rolling. So he's a good coach. I don't know. I think it's Frank Martin. I don't know what he's done to himself, but the ghost of Frank Martin is a good basketball coach. So it's not surprised to get slipped up a little bit at South Carolina, but the same LSU basketball team could turn around and win in Rupp Arena against Kentucky and John Calipari.
Donnie T, LSU is a 9 or an 8 if they make it. I agree. Brian Burgess, men's basketball playing for the NIT right
high?
now. I would just think with all the variables that they have to play in front of. Andrew Messina, LSU is a 10 seed at best. I don't think that.
Give me that value.
Rico, Pinson 2 for 10. He's not good. JP, Jordy, do you think down 1 you shoot the corner 3? I don't believe. I think that you take the open shot, and if you've got 2 7-footers, if you've got bigs under the goal, then you take your chances with a miss, a rebound, and a putback. I mean, that's Darius Days squaring up a three-pointer on the road with an open look. I'll take it. He didn't have the drive. He didn't have the layup. The defense was good and took it away from him. The help was coming over. The clock was going down. I mean, Darius had a good look at a three-pointer. It didn't go in. So, yeah, it sucks, but, it was an open look. And you get that guy an open look from that position on the court, I think you take it.
You want to guess the spread for Kentucky? We don't have it yet, but I'm just wondering what you think it would be.
6? 5?
4?
Nah, 5 to 6, I think.
8?
Right now. I don't think that high.
Kentucky,
people still respect
Kentucky
LSU.
Lost to Tennessee recently.
Tennessee.
Yeah, if they were both kind of rolling. It was about to be a little game day matchup maybe. But I could see it around 8. Going
Really?
to Kentucky. High? Yeah. But LSU they catch a little, they don't catch as many points as you would think that they would half the time. It seems like they know that LSU is kind of at the peak of their powers. When they play well, they can run you out the gym.
Yeah.
For sure. A lot of respect from Old Vegas, which I hate.
Remember, Daily, we are brought to you by GoFlow IV, GEAUX, flowiv.com. GoFlow IV is located on Jefferson Highway. You can find them over there at 7370 Jefferson Highway. They got memberships available, 3-month, 6-month, annual memberships. If you suffer from chronic dehydration, if you're looking to get over an illness, chronic illness, you've been down, looking to upgrade your athletic performance, if you want to help with your skin, hair, or beauty care, over at GoFlow IV, they can help you out. They're Baton Rouge's premier medical spa specializing in IV hydration treatments with vitamin infusion. If you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, they will take 15% off of your initial visit over at GoFlow IV. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show, and you'll receive 15% off. They recommend calling and getting a specific time, getting an appointment on the books. They do take walk-ins, but if you're trying to stay on schedule throughout the day, just log online, GEAUX, and you can book an appointment there, or you can just simply call them if you want to get in touch with them at 225-953-8150. 953-8150 is the phone number to get in touch with our friends over at GoFlow IV. Just like we said, mention that you heard it here on the Jordy Culotta Show, and they can help you out.
If you were to flip coaches from the basketball team, where do you think each team would be? If Kim Mulkey coached the men's team and Will Wade coached the women's team, would it be about equal footing, you think?
Look, I get the debate. You know what I mean? I understand what Mulkey has done to the women's program is maybe the best coaching job in that sport. It's got to be the best turnaround.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe one of the best turnarounds of all, one season turnarounds. Maybe I don't want to say of all time, but recently for sure. It's unbelievable. They won 9 games. Now they're ranked in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible turnaround. And anybody that tells you ever that coaching doesn't matter, you simply point to the LSU women's basketball program and give them last year and this year's example, and show them how it's just
how good she is at her
unbelievable
job.
that she is what she has done. LSU. By the way, the ladies ripped off another win yesterday as they beat number 17 Florida 66-61, and Florida was coming in here playing really hot, man. Florida had only lost one of their last 9 games, and it was by a couple of points to South Carolina, who's the number 1 team in the country. So Florida was playing with a lot of confidence coming in here, and Mulkey and her crew were able to throttle the Gators, like we said, 66-61, and with that win, LSU takes sole possession of second place in the SEC going into the final season of the week, or final week of the season. They'll play Alabama and Tennessee in the final week and try and set their seeding up for the SEC tournament. But right now, LSU women's basketball program is the number 2 team in the conference, behind only the number 1 team in the country in South Carolina, a team that they played really well a couple of weeks ago inside the Maravich Center. So it's amazing, man. It really is. I don't think there is a there's not a description that you can put out there that'll clearly paint how incredible the turnaround that Mulkey has provided the LSU women's program with in just one season. I mean, it truly is just super impressive the way that she has had an impact early on here. Alexis Morris, another big game for her yesterday. Pointer, Cherry, all these players that are continuing to play at a very high level for Coach Mulkey were on yesterday again as they have been playing just unbelievable basketball. I mean, just everything. I mean, the defensive effort, the rebounding, just the toughness of the team and the culture change in just 1 year. It's amazing. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show. Sorry about that little power failure over here at the Noodle.
First one.
As we were back up
First
and moving.
one from the new noodle.
A little bit of a
Hello.
freak out session there. We back off. We back on.
No, we're good.
We're good. Sorry about that.
Yeah. People are saying you're going to freak out. Y'all don't know this man as well as you think you do. Just
right.
calm, cool, collected over there, dude.
That's right. We will be out of here. Katie and I are have a meeting at 8:30 this morning over in Lafayette. We're going to see our friend Lance Beal. All right, it's not at 8:30. We're going to leave at 8:30. Busy day with everything going on over here at the Noodle. Montauk show is going to be launching at 11 o'clock, just like they go every Monday and Wednesday. It was great to see him Friday at Fred's. Great to see everybody out at Fred's. Thanks for stopping in and joining us. We'll be back there this Friday. As we are scheduled for every home game every Friday. Each time LSU baseball is at home at the box, mic'd up for as long as the players and the owners can stay in a fight.
Keep fighting, boys.
Mikey's going to be down here doing his pod, and he'll be there on Friday afternoons over at Fred's and getting you set up for first pitch. And I thought that with little promotion, with little setup, with only about 48 hours of announcing that it was going to happen, the outcome was really beautiful, man. To see some people out there. Hold the Mayo was there. Ben Mintz was there. Some of the students came by. Some old players were there. I saw it was good. Paul Maneri obviously stopped by, but it was just a cool environment. It was a cool Friday afternoon for a launch and debut of something cool that we got going on over here at FM Digital Media with Mic'd Up, and hopefully we can turn this into a regular and really start to give people choices and options on something to do a little pregame before LSU baseball.
I don't think it could have gone much better. We had two people shout out. I think Peyton was one of them. I forgot the other guy's name, but they were there early. And so we had at least two ride or dies when we got there. We're like, all right, at least we got two people. Then they started to slowly kind of funnel in. Beer started going around. Drinks started going around. Then afterward had a great post session with the boys and plus one. And so we really recapped the evening. Then Hold the Mayo went back out there, and I saw him pictures on social. He was wet. He was all covered in. You got folded up if you got bar juice all over your pants and the jacket, dude. He had a time.
He looked like he was setting a sail for a night.
He was
when I left him.
Great mood.
Yeah,
good spirits.
He was in good spirits.
Might be having him back down here.
That's right. Remember, we're brought to you by City Cafe. We were over there at City Cafe on Friday, man. Great lunch specials. The entire team was there from FM Digital Media. It was great to see Squeaky and Cody and everybody over there. If you're looking for a good lunch, or if you were looking for brunch yesterday, they've got good brunch on Sundays. Stop in and see Squeaky, Cody, Miranda, Dirk, and the gang over there at City Cafe, citycafebr.net. We were talking a little college basketball, and LSU fell over the weekend. Tough one to South Carolina. That was a bad loss. LSU could have won that game, should have won that game, and didn't win that game, and that is probably going to haunt them in their postseason life. They got to get things straight, as we've been saying. It's kind of been the same story and song and dance with LSU over the last couple of weeks. Has been, just trying to stay consistent, get right, get your team healthy, get back on the floor, and start playing with this drive for March in mind of trying to get back playing at the highest level. Saturday was a really good opportunity to get another W on the road in the SEC that they didn't take care of. So now the challenge gets a little tougher. You got to go to Kentucky on Tuesday night till on Wednesday night, and then you got to come home and play Missouri, which you should win that game on Saturday. But, you can't keep playing with your fate here. I still think that they're a tournament team, obviously. I think right now they feel like an 8 seed. I think that there's going to be some variables that you have to take in mind with Will Wade. Right now they're 7-7 in the conference. They're sitting right at 500. They go to Kentucky on Wednesday night. For the sake of the argument, let's call it a loss. So they're 7-8 in the conference when they wake up Thursday morning. They come home, play Missouri. I'll give them a win there, so they're back to 500 at 8-8. Then they go on the road to an Arkansas team who's playing really good and confident basketball right now. They beat Auburn a couple of weeks ago when they were the number one team in the country at Bud Walton. I'll call it a loss. It's a tough,
Musselman pop the top.
I was going to say, is he going to keep the shirt
on?
on?
He will.
Where is it at Arkansas?
It's at Arkansas.
Do you think you get the same Auburn-Arkansas environment? Like, will it be
No,
packed to
I
the
don't.
gills?
Well, it's not number one team in the country type environment, but I think it's LSU. It's late in the season. Arkansas is playing well. They did beat the number one team just a couple of weeks ago. I think that there's a lot of momentum that is rolling in Arkansas's direction, in Arkansas's favor at home. And then you come home and play Alabama, who I watched Alabama play on Saturday versus Kentucky, and they came out and was unconscious in the first half. I mean, they were shooting the lights out at Rupp. And then in second half, they couldn't throw it in the ocean. And Kentucky was able to capitalize. A very inconsistent team at Alabama. So I'll call it a win at home. So they end up splitting the last four, in my opinion. Lose the ones on the road. Kentucky Wednesday night. Arkansas next Tuesday night. And win the ones at home. Missouri Saturday and Alabama a week from Saturday.
Over under technicals, Nate Oates and Will Wade.
A tech apiece, 2 in the game. Give me the over.
No ejections?
No ejections.
No ejections.
Hopefully.
No ejections.
Keep them on the wood. But right now LSU sits 19-8 in overall, 7-7 in the league, and 5th in the conference. If they were to come down the stretch and finish 500, they finish 9-9. I feel like they are an 8 or 9 seed, depending on what they do in the SEC tournament. I mean, remember, this is a program that was going into the tournament last year, a little bit on the ropes, and they ended up making it to the championship game and should have won it, could have won it.
So many bunnies missed at the end.
Yeah.
I don't. Who is
Andre Hyatt.
I don't think he's ever recovered. I haven't seen him since.
Plays at Rutgers? I think he's at Rutgers now.
But this goes into what Wade said at the beginning of the year. It's why he schedules the way that he does, because he has kind of unlocked how to be able to get your team in the tournament without having to play good conference basketball almost. He does a great job of advanced scouting, knowing what the quadrant is and what wins will get you where, even though we may not know the teams or they may not be top 25 teams. He goes and plays teams that are going to win their conference, and that helps boost you up through the RPI. Like, he's got it down to a science.
Brian Chandler, Jordy, the wife, and I were in town Sunday to watch Mulkey and crew. Went to City Cafe for a couple of char-grilled oysters, po' boys, and Bloody Marys. Hey. Hopefully you mentioned you heard it here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Thank you, Brian, for supporting our sponsors. The Pirate, LSU could end up 10th place in the SEC. I don't know, Jordy. That could be scary. I don't know if 10th place team has ever made the tournament. It's still a television show. It's still entertainment. And there's still the human element behind the door. Now, I would say that the human element is against Will Wade, but they would look at Will Wade's team and say, people want to watch them play. They play above the rim. They've got some athletes. They've got some star power. If they're on the fence, I think they get in. I don't believe that it gets that bad, though. I really don't.
They'd have to lose every game.
They'd have to lose every game, and they would have to lose it badly. I think that they would have to have, even like a 1-3 bad loss in those 3 would probably be, a problem. But, they just 2-2 down the stretch with a 9-9 conference play, and then get into the tournament and win 1 or 2 games and see if you can't end up in a semifinal or a conference championship, and
you're good.
You're all good. You're all good. Right now, this morning, I think they're 8. They go 9-9. I think they probably end up as a 9. They get bounced in the first round of the SEC tournament. I think they're probably a 9. If they can win a game or 2, I think they'll stick. I think that 10 is a it would have to be a monumental fall.
They were 8 last year, right?
They were 8 last year, but they should have been a 6.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to take into account how far they would drop just because you have to. Apparently they have to drop LSU down. Like, you think you're this, but they'll give you that. We're what do you think their worst matchup is in terms of like play style? Like, who are you nervous about? Obviously Auburn gives them fits. It's a big guy down low. Well,
I would think Kentucky, really, because you haven't played Kentucky at full strength. If you remember when they came down here the last time, both Ty Washington was hurt and Siobhan and Wheeler got hurt in the game.
Yeah.
So I think good guard play, anybody who can put pressure on the ball and make it tough for the ball to be advanced, whether it be dribbling or passing. And LSU depends a ton on Pinson, Gaines, and guards to set up guys to get good shots or put people in good position to make plays. And if you can get a team that is guard heavy and athletic in the backcourt, that can apply pressure and maybe even double or jump the ball with a guy like Pinson, where they can get it out of his hands. That's a scary recipe for me when I think of LSU, just because of how dependent they are on Pinson in the guard play.
I mean, you saw the teams that they do like to play whenever against Georgia. That was almost as good as LSU can play defensively, and it showed out that that's their strength, because Georgia couldn't get the ball across half court.
Yeah.
So if you can, if you're able to use, I guess, your athleticism in the backcourt against somebody like I know Georgia's not good, but it shows that what LSU can do whenever they're the ones applying the pressure.
Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. Remember, online at CajunRMC.com. Get in touch with Cajun Ready Mix Concrete this morning by logging on to CajunRMC.com. Get in touch with them today. They can help you out with a project, whether it's residential, commercial, industrial, or municipal. They're ready for all your concrete products and ready to meet your concrete needs. They have 9 plant locations around the greater Baton Rouge area, which means they can help you out specifically by getting your concrete on time to you to the exact specification. CajunRMC.com. CajunRMC.com. So as we said, LSU will wade LSU basketball back home this week versus Missouri on Saturday.
That in here?
No, that's outside. That is it's the Rooster and his crew.
Yeah.
And his crew. Bad look for Juwan Howard last night in the Michigan Wolverine basketball team. That was tough to watch, man. I mean, I'd imagine that Juwan Howard is feeling the heat this morning from his bosses. If you saw the statement that Michigan put out, they said that they took ownership for the action. They were obviously very disappointed with the way that their basketball program represented them yesterday at Wisconsin. If you have not seen it yet, yesterday in a matchup in the Big 12 versus that was featuring Michigan and Wisconsin at the end of the game. First off, it's been a hell of a struggle for Michigan this season after going to the national champion or going to the Final Four last year. Did they make the national championship game?
Just Final Four.
Just
right?
Final Four.
Oh wait, Stewie?
I think they just made the
No, because it was Baylor Gonzaga, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And Baylor wiped the floor with Gonzaga after Gonzaga hit the game winner.
That's right.
Over, was it Michigan? Who did they play?
Gonzaga beat Michigan, and then UCLA was the other team that played. I guess it would have had to have been
Baylor. But Gonzaga blew their load after that.
But Juwan Howard last night versus Wisconsin. Howard and the Wolverines struggling this year. A down year after having such a high season last year. Very frustrating, you can tell. But as Howard is going through the lineup, he is shaking hands and kind of going down the line. And at the end of the game, Wisconsin called a timeout with 4 seconds left. With 4 seconds left in the game while they were up really big. And in the handshaking line, Howard stops the head coach from Wisconsin and tells him that he doesn't like it. He just pulls his mask down, and I think he gets some words from him, kind of like, I won't forget that, or saying something like that. And the coach goes back to him with the intent of explaining to him why he did that. And Juwan curls his hand up on his chest and kind of grabs him by his shirt, and then they kind of start pointing back at one another and going at each other, and then people start to intervene and start to come in, and then out of nowhere, Juwan Howard comes with this swift right hand, open hand that connects with a Wisconsin assistant coach, and then all mayhem, all hell breaks loose as both teams kind of start going at each other, and they're having to be separated and held apart. It was a bad look. This isn't it.
That's not it.
That's not it.
What do you mean that's not it?
That's not it. That's not. I mean, that's not the game from yesterday.
Oh.
I got you.
You got me?
Got you.
What was that, Maryland? So Juwan's out there trying to fight everybody?
I guess. What was that? I mean, was that another
That
fight?
was Maryland.
You could go.
Yeah.
You could come to me now.
I got you. Look at this, dude. Look at this technology we got.
Wow.
This is up close too.
Who's this compliments to? Stewie?
Gina Trotman.
Shout out Gina.
She had it up close and personal.
Wow, she is. She's in the mix.
Yeah, she got in there.
Oh, somebody
Oh,
hit the
wow.
Oh, the Latrell Sprewell situation. Who was holding on to Van Gundy's foot?
That was Jeff
Van
Van Gundy
Gundy
was hanging on to Patrick Ewing's foot.
We almost had a similar situation there.
Or Alonzo Mourning.
Alonzo Mourning.
It was Alonzo Mourning.
And then Latrell Sprewell choked out PJ Carlissimo.
That's right. That was at practice.
Yes. Latrell.
Look at this scene.
Oh, uniforms stink.
Yeah,
Terrible unis.
uniforms are awful.
Terrible unis.
This guy has like half sleeves on.
Yeah, because what your coach does is it's fair game, right?
Sure.
If you're on Michigan and if you're on
yeah.
Wisconsin, we're fighting.
Michigan had 2 players throw punchings. I mean, once they saw that it's on, I mean, they started throwing haymakers.
it was waylaying,
I mean,
yeah.
Juwan's throwing.
34 is going in for more. He's like, we're going this way?
And that's him, huh? That's who he was.
Yeah.
So what was he trying to explain to him to say that?
So there was a bucket at the end of the game, and Michigan set their press. And if you call timeout, it resets the clock to. He was explaining the rule, and he kind of got a dig in on Howard. He was like, he must not know the rule.
I heard that part.
Because he was calling timeout to reset the clock so his team didn't have to break the press. Either way, look, it was gamesmanship that can be debated whether or not it's right or wrong, but it doesn't deserve anything like this. And it's clear that Juwan Howard and Michigan are very frustrated from the season. After all the success that they had last season and all the success that they've experienced, in the short time that Howard has been there, this has been a very down year. It's been a real bad season for Michigan. I mean, right now, Michigan is 14-11. They've got 11 losses, 8-7 in the conference. But nobody's going to be talking about yesterday's loss, the latest loss. Everybody's going to be talking about the behavior and actions taken by the coaching staff and their head coach, Juwan Howard. And as we said, Michigan has made some comments on this. It'll be interesting to see what the next 10, 12 hours is like on the campus of Ann Arbor. Do we have the statement? Yes, here is Ward Manuel, who is the AD.
It sounds like an AD's name.
It does sound like an AD's name, with his statement from the University of Maryland. From the University of Michigan.
Hey.
After the confrontation yesterday.
Are you gonna read it?
I can't because of the cameras. Can you? Can you?
Okay, it's not on your screen.
Yeah.
I'm aware of and watched the end of our men's basketball game. There is no excuse for any of our staff or student athletes to get into a physical altercation with others regardless of instigating factors. I reached out and apologized to Chris McIntosh. President Coleman has reached out to UW Chancellor Blake to apologize for the totally unacceptable behavior. We will review the situation more thoroughly and work with the Big Ten Conference as they determine their disciplinary actions. It will determine if any further disciplinary actions are needed. He ain't getting fired. That's for sure. People were calling for his head. That is a apology, non-apology right there. Like, we're not getting rid of Juwan Howard. He's a Michigan legend already. I'd imagine he's going to have – you got to do way more than that to get fired. Yeah. Same thing with Penny Hardaway. Both of them are going through it.
Hardaway is going through it a little bit more. I mean,
they need to play each other.
He had it just came down on him a couple of weeks. Did you see that press conference he had when he went at the guy?
Doesn't know what to say.
Berating and he's like, I mean, are y'all really coming at me on this stuff?
I'm Penny Hardaway.
But yeah, it's a bad look for Juwan Howard, and it sounded like we'll wait and see. I think the Big Ten is probably the one that's going to be coming down with the punishment. I don't know if it's up to Michigan, but from Michigan's point of view, they're not going to fire him, it sounds like. But the Big Ten is going to be the one that levies whether it's a game, 2-game, 3-game, a fine, whatever it is.
You think he'll get suspended?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, he made contact with another coach. I mean, he swung at another coach, and then that kind
open-handed,
really kind of opened the door for his players to start swinging, because his players were really trying to calm it down and really trying to keep it cool while that stuff was going on. And then when he threw the hand, that's when all hell broke loose. So I mean, I think that the Big Ten is going to look at that from the leader standpoint and the coach standpoint and say, man, this can't happen. You're either going to have to sit out a game, a 2-game, or we're going to fine you X amount. And I think that he'll definitely be suspended.
They should make him play
for a game.
Put Juwan back out on the court.
Looks like he could.
He could. I mean, he wasn't bad. Wasn't he on the Heat whenever they went on their run?
Late
Heat.
Yeah. Well, he was late.
Late
in
Juwan.
His career.
It was late Juwan Howard.
Yeah. Gary Payton was a late one on those teams that got rings.
Those were the Lakers.
No, Gary Payton, look it up, was on those Heat teams that got rings.
Wait, not one, not two, not.
He was, no, you know what?
Oh, you're
He was
talking
on
about
Shaq. He was on Shaq and D Wade's.
Mike Miller.
That's right. Morales Roll-Offs. Remember Morales?
Bibby.
Remember Morales Roll-Offs? They are located on Airline Highway. Stop in and see them. Really good people, fun, good conversation. If you want to stop in and have a cup of coffee with them, you'll realize that they can help you out. They've got very competitive pricing when it comes to dumpsters. They've got dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposals. They work with contractors. And a message to the contractors: if you have a relationship already in place, you have your dumpster people that you already have been using, and you've got multiple projects going on, give Morales a chance and find out for yourself just how good the customer service is, just how good the pricing is, just how friendly and knowledgeable the staff is over at Morales. Claude and crew will take care of you. And if you're moving, remember they've got U-Hauls over on their lot as well. So if you need to rent a U-Haul for the day, they can help you out over there at Morales Roll-Offs. They're located on Airline Highway, right across from Industrialplex on Airline. Great location. Stop in and see them. Really clean, cool place that they got over there. Cups of coffee when you get in there and sit down and good conversation. Claude's an ex-contractor. He really understands the entire trade. He knows how that industry works, so he can help you out. He's got the best prices in town when it comes to roll-off dumpsters. Find out for yourself. MoralesRolloffs.com. MoralesRolloffs.com. Wilson Alexander talking some LSU baseball coming up here. Remember, our poll question is up. It is up and ready to be voted on. 25% off over at Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge if you get over to Southern Eye Center located on Jefferson Highway. Come right back with us. We will talk to Wilson Alexander, who covers LSU baseball for The Advocate.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com.
Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show live here on this Monday morning. We talked LSU basketball, LSU baseball, a little college basketball. We'll tell you a little tidbit from LSU football's coaching staff. Some interest being gained from an NFL team, a very successful NFL team. The Super Bowl champs are hovering around LSU's program, wanting to talk to a new assistant. We'll tell you who coming up here after we talk to our next guest, who is Wilson Alexander. It's good to crank up our conversations back with Wilson, who covers the LSU baseball team. You can follow him on Twitter anywhere that you are looking for LSU baseball news. Check out Wilson's work. He covers it for the Advocate, and you can follow him on Twitter at WH Alexander, at WH Alexander _ Wilson, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Jordy?
Doing good. Jay Johnson's debut couldn't have gone any better, right?
Absolutely not. That was an impressive weekend.
What was the most impressive part about it?
The way that they hit. You knew that Jay was known for his offenses dating back really his entire career. That's what he has done and what he's done extremely well. And yet still to see them come out and score 51 runs over a 3-game stretch, 21 yesterday alone. It's Maine, of course, and those teams from up north, particularly smaller ones, didn't struggle at the beginning of the year because they can't practice as outside as regularly as Southern teams. But, still, even with all those caveats, 21 runs is 21 runs in one game and 51 over the entire weekend. That was incredible to see, just the way that they hit, the approach that they had at the plate, and the depth in the lineup was really amazing.
Blake Money on Friday, I thought, was as impressive as the offense was. What did you take away from his performance?
Yeah, for sure. To see somebody who was not on the roster for the postseason last year transform himself and turn into the pitcher that LSU, thought that they had when they recruited him, because he was him and Ty were probably the two biggest pitching prospects in the class last year, Ty Floyd. And yet they kind of had up and down freshman years, and Blake really didn't contribute a ton, but he's, as Jay kind of said after that game on Friday, it's like the story isn't so much that he transformed his body now, it's that he's a really good pitcher, and you can see why. He had 3 pitches working. He mixes them well. He was throwing a ton of strikes, 70.8% of his pitches were strikes. Had a great slider and fastball working, and just Maine's hitters didn't really know what was coming. And so to have somebody, if he can continue to pitch like that the whole year at the front of your rotation, gives you a great chance to win games.
When you see this lineup, how potent is it, and how potent can it be? I mean, you don't expect 50 runs a weekend, but I mean, what is the ceiling to look towards SEC and expect out of this mashing crew?
When I was before the opener, I was putting together our SEC baseball preview, and we did this thing where we pick out just the top 3 hitters, top 3 pitchers, kind of coming into the year. 2 of them were LSU guys, because maybe that's just seeing the team every day. Maybe some bias came through there, but when you have Jacob Berry and Dylan Cruz and Trey Morgan as your top 3 hitters in the lineup, it's hard to match that it's going to be hard for another team to match that. So the potential in this lineup is really high to be one of the best, if not the best in the country by the end of the year in terms of, runs scored and that kind of thing. And you had some guys this weekend like Braden Jobert, didn't even start on Friday night, ended up probably being one of their best hitters for the weekend, to transfer from Delgado over the offseason. So this lineup can take them a pretty long way. You don't want to take too much just from one weekend and extrapolate over the course of the whole year. Like you said, they're not going to score 51 every weekend, but it's going to be hard for opposing teams to shut them down for long periods of time.
Jacob Berry, 2 home runs on Saturday. For him, he came in with such high expectation. How did you feel that he handled opening weekend in Baton Rouge? And I guess with that success, that kind of takes the pressure off of him to keep rolling, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Jacob's someone who's played baseball at a high level for a really long time. He's, on the USA collegiate national team last summer, and along with Dylan. And, he probably was never, Arizona was in the College World Series last year. He probably wasn't going to be overwhelmed by the stage at all. Yet he, was a little bit slow out of the gate on Friday, but it's one game and that kind of stuff happens. And then, like you said, to come out with 2 home runs. He's such an impressive hitter. His body is just so calm at the plate. His swing is smooth. He looks good from both sides. and typically you'll see him from the left side as a switch hitter. And to get a guy like that in the lineup as a transfer, I mean, just does amazing things for this team because you got him, right in front of Dylan, who you really can't pitch around him if you're an opposing team. And he's going to probably end up having a pretty good year. I mean, those 2 home runs were great to see. And as he got rolling, he'll probably just continue to get better and better as the year goes on.
What did you make of their defense in the way that they were handling and moving people around? Do you think that they're still trying to find how they're going to handle what they look like defensively just because of how powerful they all are offensively?
Yeah, that's the thing that's going to be really interesting to kind of watch over the next few weeks and see how long Jay tinkers and moves people around. Paul Mainieri, of course, was known for tinkering well into the season to try to find that lineup. We'll be curious to see how long Jay kind of does it, especially because he has so many pieces that he can go to. The thing is, the lineup might sort of subtly change day by day depending on who they face and what they do defensively. It might change because they probably have some lineups that they think are really good defensively versus really good offensively, depending on who's in there, who's doing what. And they get so deep that they have so many different things that they can try, and a lot of the options are probably pretty good. Think about Gavin Dugas, 19 home runs and 66 RBIs last year. He was in the bottom third of the lineup all weekend. They can do a lot of different things, and so the experimentation might last for a couple of weeks and maybe even into SEC play once you see how guys respond to that stage.
Much has been made of, I would say Blake Money had a bit of a personality last year. He seemed to be a guy that was loose in the dugout, had a good bit of fun. Then you see him come back in the cowboy hat. Has he lost any of that, or has he dove right in as opposed to being a Friday night starter and wanting to have a serious mentality? Or is this the same Blake Money we're going to get all year where he's one of the guys?
No, that's Blake Money. Yeah, that's his personality. He's just, his personality is huge, and that's probably never going to change. He did say, though, how he's gotten sort of better at controlling his emotions, which was necessary to become, a starter, in that, maybe not letting himself get too high, too low, pitch after pitch, which is, of course, one of the most essential things in baseball. He has learned to control that and harness it a little bit, but yet he's still going to be that big personality who's, kind of screaming and yelling coming off the mound after a 1-2-3 inning, pumped up after a big strikeout. Blake's always going to have that, and he's going to, probably be really fun in post-game interviews and other points of the season. I remember they kind of thought about him as almost like a Todd Peterson type last year, and he's got a little bit of that in him where he's just fun to be around. But he has harnessed that a little bit, which he had to do to become this sort of, frontline starter, and that was a positive thing to see.
He pulls off the cowboy hat too, which is tough to do. I know
he's got that Stetson rocking. Looks great.
That's a hard hat to pull off. When you look at the rest of the pitching staff, as far as the weekend goes and how they want to move throughout the midweek, you expect Helmers to go on Tuesday night versus Tech?
Yeah, he was one of the only guys who didn't pitch over the weekend, so that would be a logical choice. We don't know for certain at this point if that's who they'll go with, but they're pretty high. Jay's expressed some confidence in Helmers during the preseason, and so it wouldn't be a surprise to see him on Wednesday at all. But we don't know for certain yet.
Obviously, I want to go back to Blake Money real quick. Do you know what he did to lose all the weight in the offseason? Because he definitely came back, 15, 20 pounds slimmer, and it looked great on him. It looked like he could it's almost like he was preparing to be a Friday night guy.
Yeah, he lost 37 pounds.
Oh, my goodness.
And
Tigerland will get you your first year.
That's a lot.
My colleague Leah Van has a great feature that dives into that even deeper than I can probably get into, on the Advocates website. But, it was kind of like he was talking about it post-game Friday where he really just had this kind of, get up and run. And, when he didn't really want to work out, make sure you get that workout in, get that extra running in, do those little things to, sort of basic tenets of, losing weight where he, said no to the fried food, said no to the second plate of food, and increased his, workouts and maybe, the type of workouts that he was doing. And it ended up getting it to fall off, but it was a lot of discipline too, to make sure he stuck with it.
How big is tomorrow night's game?
You mean Wednesday against La Tech?
Wednesday, La Tech.
I mean, yeah, midweek games are never truly indicative of how a season's going to play out. But La Tech was a good team last year and has been over the last 2 years, and never put too much into a midweek game really, but still important. Of course, every one of them is important. They want to win all of them, and continue to see how this lineup grows and how this pitching staff does on the midweek.
Wilson Alexander, he covers it for The Advocate. Make sure you're keeping up with him on Twitter at WHAlexander_ to keep up with everything from the latest of LSU baseball. Tigers start 3-0, score 50 runs in Jay Johnson's debut weekend down at the box. They'll be in Louisiana Tech, come Wednesday night for a midweek game versus the Bulldogs, which will be a big one here in February. Thank you as always, Wilson. We'll be checking again soon.
Thanks for having me. Y'all have a great day.
All right, man. There he is, Wilson Alexander checking in. That brought to you by Falaya Real Estate. Get in touch with our friend Barrett Blondo over at Falaya Real Estate, online at falayarealestate.com. Great app to download to keep up with the latest installments of shows, houses, of new listings, anything that you may be looking for on the market. We've told you that Falaya has a great podcast available to you where they're educating and informing their customer base on the market and what to look for in trends in real estate. Get online to falaya.com to keep up with what they got going on with Falaya. Also, their app, downloaded inside of your Apple Android stores to keep up with our friend Barrett Blondo over here. All right, the Carpool Queen and I.
Nice
I
one.
may have found my new
You might
house.
have found
This
it.
one
You
is.
did,
This
huh?
is
Moving
a
on
house.
from clay cut.
This is a
That's
house.
awesome. There you go, Lloyd.
That
I
is a
can see you
house.
there.
How was the women's basketball game?
It was fabulous.
Yeah?
I mean, it was rocking in there. I was kind of diagonal from the balcony Bengals. Old Daniel Newman was in front of me. I think it was the fourth largest crowd.
Intrigue around what's going on with that LSU women's basketball program, and right now they sit second overall in the conference and number 11 in the country, and 23-4, and now 11-3 in the league. It's incredible.
It's hard not to watch her. Like,
yeah.
I'm watching the game, but then I'll find myself sometimes missing plays because I'm staring at her, and she's just so great to watch. She's so much fun.
The Los Angeles Rams have gotten in touch with LSU. They're looking to interview Cortez Hankton, which is the LSU passing game coordinator. He's a former Georgia assistant coach. He recently just joined Brian Kelly's staff, but the Rams requested to interview Hankton since their offensive coordinator job is now vacant. Sean McVay has reached out to Hankton. They have some crossover. Hankton was in the league early. I believe he played for 4 seasons, and he ended up in Tampa Bay on the practice squad, and that was at Sean McVay's first coaching stop back in 2008. So that's where the familiarity is with Hankton. I know that McVay has talked to a couple of other people throughout football. I know Hankton is one of the names that he's looking at. This would be a pretty big hit to Kelly's staff here early on, at least without having played a game or without going through a recruiting cycle, and try and replace Cortez Hankton would be it'd be a big deal, man. It really would. It would. You're talking about a guy who has Southern ties. He's from New Orleans. He's a St. Aug guy. Him and Frank Wilson have really hit it off really good here early on. So to take him off the staff, or the possibility of losing him, before you even get to spring ball, since he's been hired.
So it was this is something very
This
unexpected.
is extremely unexpected.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll just wait and see. You're kind of at the mercy now of Hankton. LSU has released, obviously the ability to interview him. Now you just see what happens.
If you're Cortez Hankton, you crawl to that job. Like, you sprint, run, whatever it takes.
Looks like
to
a hell
get
of a
there.
stepping stone.
Because if you get on the Sean McVay bandwagon,
look around.
Look around.
Yeah.
Look at everybody that's ever Sean McVay's breathed on has a head coaching job.
Yeah.
But has he ever called plays or been an offensive coordinator before?
I can't confirm that.
It's just an interesting choice.
It is.
Kind of like from the clouds.
if you remember, Sean McVay was interviewing Brandon Harris to be his quarterbacks coach last year when it opened up. He's thinking outside. We say outside the box, but he's going down list and going through names, on coaching searches that, made people like, wow, he's digging deep. I mean, it's a relationship business, and it's all about relationships. And McVay knows Hankton from their time that they spent in Tampa Bay early on, and they, probably stayed in contact and continued to stay in touch, and have always said, if I ever get an opportunity, I'll think of you and I'll be watching what you do. And here they are. I mean, this is how that world works. It's probably how your world works if you're listening out there. I mean, a lot of the things that you do or get done during the day is based on some of the relationships that you have, whether it's in industry or personal, to get your tasks done. And I think this is, Sean McVay just kind of going down his, list of relationships throughout the trees of years that he's been in the NFL, and just kind of shaking some of the names out. And Hankton's name is one that stuck, and they'll try and interview him and bring him aboard, or possibly. And I think that'd be a hell of a hit for Kelly in year one. You would make sure. I think LSU would hopefully is hoping that Los Angeles can find another name and another person from Hankton's standpoint, just because he's got big expectation on recruiting and development immediately at LSU, and they need that. They need that bad. So we'll see.
Yeah, and if you're Cortez Hankton, you have to look at it almost like a Pete Carmichael situation, right? Where it's you get to be the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams, but you really don't call plays during the game, right? It's Sean McVay runs that show. He's calling every offensive play. He is obviously in the quarterback's ear until you can no longer be in the quarterback's ear. So it's not like he wants him for his offensive prowess. It might just be maybe that the wide receivers like him, or somebody he talked to on staff is like, he's a great guy to have in the building. Yeah. Because I don't think he'll take over too many of Sean McVay's duties, because he likes to do it all.
Yeah, well, and I think that's, if you look around, that's what kind of McVay is doing. Is he knows that he runs the offense, so he's not necessarily looking for some cutting-edge offensive mind. He's probably just looking for good people to bring in the building that he can just say, hey, you can help these guys with this in their career, and you're good at that. We've got you as the offensive coordinator title. When it comes down to Sunday, I'll call the plays. We can game plan together. Gig. Great gig. Mm-hmm. It's a great gig, man. So
where would LSU look to? I mean, obviously you have to fill the spot. I mean, I don't even know who's on the list. This is late.
Maybe high school head coaches.
Oh, dang, really?
I mean, if you're looking in that type, if that type of fold, when you think of relation, I mean, Hankton's really here to recruit. That's his primary objective, is to recruit. He's a really good football coach. He can recruit and develop players. But, I mean, his main objective is to build relationships in the state of Louisiana and recruit. And a lot of the people that have the best relationships in Louisiana with recruiters is high school coaches. So I don't know. This late in the game, I unless you have somebody in mind, I doubt that they do, immediately. I'm sure that they've been scrambling over the last 48 hours since McVay in Los Angeles has reached out and requested this interview, with the happenstance that it would shake out that he would get the gig.
Because if he's offered, he's taking it.
Oh, sure.
How long has he been here now?
2 weeks.
No, I mean, he hadn't been here.
Months.
I mean, he hadn't been. He probably has not bought a house here yet.
Really?
Yeah.
He got announced in
quick?
January. That
is weird.
I mean,
right?
Brian Kelly just got hired. I mean, he's bringing in his new staff.
Does that not seem weird that this happened this quickly?
No.
This
people want good coaches.
Yeah, but it kind of shocked me that was a name that would even be considered for an offensive coordinator role when LSU was not hiring him for that, and he was like, oh yeah, I'll definitely come coach wide receivers at LSU. Like, that seemed like a step up from Georgia. Passing game coordinator is also in the title, but OC in the NFL under Sean McVay, the Super Bowl champs, is a chance that like you don't miss if they come calling. You answer that phone call.
Exactly.
Gabe from
Gabe for
Catholic
he
Louisville.
just got hired at Florida State.
Florida State now.
Florida State just hired him. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Bring him back.
bring him back.
We'll see. I mean, it's a big gig.
Or do you think you go somewhere? You go NOLA. Frank could put you in the right direction.
Yeah.
You would think so. But I think best case scenario for LSU is that McVay passes on Hankton.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Do the NFL thing.
All right, we're going to take a break here. Do you guys want to carry on the last part of the show? We need to hit the road and get on the interstate.
I'm with it if you are.
What do we have to talk about?
We can continue on this. This is.
Yeah, we'll give it a shot.
We give it a shot.
Just let it roll for a little bit. Y'all stick around or leave. It doesn't matter. You got the good information already.
All right, we'll be back. Lloyd and Stewie will be back here for a little bit of conversation. The Carpool Queen and I need to hit the road for a meeting in Lafayette, so we will head down there and get that going. Make sure you hit that like, share button. We appreciate you being here daily. We're brought to you by Go Chevrolet. Make sure you check them out online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Lloyd, before you get out of here, make sure and tell the people about Relief Med and that code Jordy1. Jordy1.
Jordy 420.
And we will be, I will be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. But stick around. Lloyd and Stewie will be here to close out today's show. Thank you for watching. Go Chevrolet. Hit that like and share.
Show's going to be totally different whenever we come back.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com.
Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in LaPlace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more.
back.
Oh, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
To the Jordy Culotta show.
Stewie and Lloyd show, dude. Stewie and Lloyd show. We'll do this for about 10 minutes until we get tired of it and run out of things to talk about.
But, so in the break, we were talking about the dunk contest and how they should get better players in it. Like maybe incentivize it. I think they should incentivize the dunk contest and make it to where the players like want to do it. The star players want to do it. Because I want to see Ja Morant in this thing. Like I got to see a Ja Morant, maybe Zion if he gets healthy. Like a
but you can't even get to play for the Pelicans, much less give it an All-Star weekend. But yeah, I think that the only reason that it's broken is that the stars don't want to do it anymore. And I don't know if this is LeBron James' fault, because he never did it as a rookie, never got into it because he just. I mean, it used to be like a rite of passage. Like when MJ, Dominique, like it used to be the thing to do to kind of capitalize yourself as, I'm the best player on the planet right now.
Right.
So you would almost sprint to be in the
do
dunk contest. And they were doing, like they were showing some highlights of some of the best like alley-oops and dunk contests. Like Vince Carter's probably the GOAT when it comes to dunk contests. But now it's almost like, it doesn't move the needle for me anymore. The three-point contest might get some of my eyeballs as opposed to the dunk contest. But I don't know why they don't want to do it, because it's not like, especially when you talk about hoopers, dude, like all they want to do is play basketball, and this is something that's supposed to be fun, but they just really have decided it's almost like the Pro Bowl, where it's almost cooler to not play in it.
I mean, like, I never got that. Like, why wouldn't you want to be on that stage to go, showcase your abilities? Like, especially if you consider yourself one of the best in the country, in the world.
Ja would be the one that would absolutely get eyeballs on the TV because of he's the perfect size that you want to see to be able to dunk, because there's guys that are too tall and they make it look too easy almost, but Ja is so athletic, it would have been something that would have been almost show-stopping. And then you saw I think the All-Star game as a whole for the NBA is probably the best one that you can put out for one of the big four sports. Like, it seems like it's the most exciting. It gets competitive towards the end. And I don't know what they're going to do about LeBron as a GM, but he is wiping the floor.
LeBron is a great GM.
Is he 4-0 as the
I think he is.
As the head coach for the All-Star team? Like, he is unbelievable. He got Steph, who had 8 3-pointers? How many did he have? 15, 16?
I think he finished with 16.
16
52.
threes. Yeah, 8 in the first quarter, I think, which is unbelievable. But he had Steph, he had Jokic, he had Giannis, and he had LeBron. Obviously, he's on the team.
Yeah.
But, I don't know what KD was doing on the other side, because I don't think I can name a player that was on the other side. Like, those are 4 picks that you shouldn't be able to get in a row.
Yeah, LeBron is just and everybody wants to play with him. It seems like it's like LeBron has this like fanfare around him. Like
in the league, it's the opposite of Michael Jordan, where people were almost afraid of him, and LeBron did the buddy era. Where everybody wants to be around LeBron.
Like everybody wants to go to LeBron's team, or an All-Star game. Like, LeBron, please pick me. Like, I hope LeBron.
They want to play.
Me.
Yeah, because you saw the last 3 for Steph, how they